All right, so when I got started as a coach, this was probably almost 23 years ago. So times have changed. I mean, social media is a thing now. It wasn't even, no one knew what the hell it was 23 years ago. So there's a lot of what I would still tell you to continue to do in becoming a coach. There's still a process I think you need to go about, but now I understand the importance of getting yourself out there from a digital standpoint. The word networking then may have kind of changed a little bit, but it still has the same definition. And, when I started, it was back in 1999, and I went into the city and I got a job at a big box gym where I thought, looking back on it now, it was one of the best things that I could have done, because it forced me to get my first certification. It allowed me to understand that the certification isn't what's really important. It's your continuing education. It's, are you going to take mentorship programs? Are you going to learn and study under specific coaches or specific people out there that have really established themselves well in the industry? And, I started there in 99. I built my book up to probably about 40 to 50 1-hour sessions a week, and then I was gone in a year. And at that point, I became a bit entrepreneurial where, I started my own one-on-one training business in the city. I was training going home to home, but I was making good money as a young kid. I mean, I was 22 years old, making well over, six-figure salary a year. I was happy. I controlled my schedule. It wasn't until later on when social media really, began to pick up, and then, you start raising an eyelid and you're saying to yourself, something's here. And this is a really important thing to do. So, once I got funded to start Drive, there were so many things at a young age that I realized that helped me along the way, and that, I believed would help a lot of these young coaches out there. So the first thing that we wanted to do was we wanted to establish, we called it an internship program. It really turned more into a mentorship program. And I think if you're getting started as a coach, there's several things that you need to do kind of parallel to each other. One is, go work at a facility where you're going to do some volume. A lot of these coaches out there, they're like, well, I can make $100 an hour or $150 an hour going home to home. And they end up training, one or two people, and they can't really build their book up. And I believe that there is an importance of going off to a big box facility, watching how a corporation, runs it, watching, hopefully you have a good training manager or there's someone that you can, learn from. But I think understanding how to deal with different people in a membership. And I think that's something that's very important. It was actually something that a lot of my coaches who didn't get to experience that, it was so obvious it was the one area that they were missing. They almost became a little bit spoiled in a specific, with a specific category or a specific way that we would run things. And I would always turn to one of my coaches, Tiago. He's like my right-hand guy for 14 years, and we'd say, oh God, how easy do these guys have it? Because, they were what we believed was missing something that was very important in becoming a coach, and that was volume. You got to get your hands dirty. You got to clean up weights. You got to be able to deal with that, irate member. And these are all things that even though they seem like they're a pain in the ass, I believe that it's one of those ingredients that you need in just becoming a great coach. And then once you go off and get that big box job, go take courses, internship programs, mentorship programs, whatever it is. Go learn from specific coaches. So I think FMS, the functional movement screening, is very important to take. I think understanding how the body moves from a joint by joint approach is very important. Now, am I saying that, your screening should start and stop with the FMS? No, this is a tool for coaches. I'm not talking about physical therapists. I'm not talking about orthopedists. I'm talking about a coach who needs to understand whether there's any red flags out there. And if a coach comes in and understands FMS and notices that this person might have scored a 0 on a certain test or a 1, and there are, maybe some red flags, then that's when you can get your team involved. And when you're asking, well, what do you mean by team? That means that, every coach out there, I think, should align themselves with a physical therapist, and they should align themselves with an orthopedist. Establish a team, invite them in to train with you, go take them for coffee, buy them lunch, shadow them. be humble, become a student, get around these people. Because for me at Drive, that was one of the best ingredients that I could have ever set up. We had our physical therapist, we had our coach, we had our golf pro, because we did do a lot of golf in there. We had our nutritionist. And when you had all of these separate, contractors in a way, sit and speak with you and the client, it would really add a lot of value. And I think, in my opinion, there was a much more educated decision on the best route to put that client in. So, big box gym's important. Mentorship program is incredibly important. And courses, I just mentioned FMS, I think incredibly important. I think going and taking a certification like what Mike Boyle's offering, his course is absolutely phenomenal. Look up Mike Boyle, and he offers his training courses, which I think is Mike Boyle Strength and Conditioning. I think it's MBSC. Is the abbreviation for it, but Mike's, the godfather of strength and conditioning. And I think a program like that has a system in place, it's really going to point you in a good direction. Very important also. I think then understanding certain elements like mobility. So I love a course called FRC, Dr. Andrea Spina. Maybe evolving then into Kinstretch, which is a course I took. I took FRC several times because we hosted it at Drive. Even though you're not a nutritionist, or maybe you're not maybe you are, but I think understanding nutrition, taking a simple course like precision nutrition, even though I'm not saying that you need to, start doing all the nutrition in your client's life. I'm not saying that, but having an understanding and having a passion for nutrition is a conversation that everyone needs to have. So I wouldn't be, and there's so many other things out there you can take. The hard style kettlebell. I know Chris Holder and I have been offering a course for Perform Better that it's not necessarily an instructor's course. An instructor can take it, but it's for the everyday, Joe out there. But understanding the elements of the Big Six, which we get into. We're probably going to be hosting another one this fall. But these are things that are going to get your mindset in the right spot. You start surrounding yourself with the right team of people. Go to the Perform Better Summits. So valuable. You're going to go into one conference. You're going to sit and listen to some of the most brilliant speakers in the world. And there you're going to hear them talk about everything from business to social media to training systems to training equals rehab. I mean, you're going to go on and on listening to the guys like Gray Cook or Boyle or Charlie Weingroff or Eric Cressy, Brandon Marcello, one of my favorites, fantastic. Ali Gilbert. I mean, Robert Yang, one of the most brilliant nutritionists that I know. Guys, going into a summit for a weekend, and whether you're virtual or whether you're there in public, connecting with these people and taking these courses might be one of the first things that I would tell you to do right after your certification. So even though that wasn't in one specific order, as a coach, as someone who's really falling in love with fitness, there are other, routes that we can go about approaching. But I think doing this not for the certification, doing this to continue your education and become really good in an area that you're not good at is incredibly important. And then you guys have to surround yourself with people who are going to give you honest feedback. So people who aren't going to tell you what you want to hear, but what you need to hear. So if you're lacking in areas of business, who's going to be able to call you out on that? Do you need to take a public speaker's course? All right, something that coaches don't really think much about. But if you want to get on camera more and you want to do more social media, you want to do TV, you want to do all this stuff, speaking in public and having that level of confidence is something that's going to be very important. It's going to really help elevate your profile. So I know I gave you a lot there today. This is an area I'm really passionate about. If you got any questions, just shoot them me below, and I'll talk to you soon. Thanks.